Now, there are three big, and I mean big problems in this Juventus starting 11 that Thiago Motta must address, must fix if Juventus want to have any chance of achieving top four and making it into the Champions League next year. And what it is, it's misprofiling. When you misprofile players, guess what? You have a complementary problem in your starting 11 amongst your players. Let's just put it like this. Everybody loves spaghetti bolognese. But imagine I turned around and said to you guys, make the spaghetti, but remove the bolognese. Put Caesar salad sauce. Rather than sprinkling some basil on top, sprinkle some lettuce. It doesn't make sense. The sauce, the spaghetti, the dressing on top, it doesn't complement one another. Let's just look into it. Three problems. The first person to start off with is Nico Gonzalez. Now, when it comes to Nico Gonzalez, one, he is a left-footed player. Two, he plays on the left-hand side. This problem is connected to problem number two, which is Cambiaso. Let me just break it down for you guys. Nico Gonzalez is a player. What made him so special? Why did Juventus want to sign him from Fiorentina? Why was he scoring goals for Fiorentina? He played off the right. He had license to cut inside and shoot. It's all about creating opportunities for yourself. It's all about giving the players an avenue to have shots on goal. If you don't shoot, you don't score. Inverted wingers, there's a reason why it's so common in the modern game. Players that are left-footed, they play on the right because now they can pick up the ball, they can cut inside, they can create that angle and they can shoot whilst their body positioning favours their stronger foot. The problem at Juventus is Nico Gonzalez, he plays on the left-hand side and he is left-footed, which means he can only go down the outside, he can't cut in. Why is this a problem? It's a problem for Cambiaso. You can clearly see. And this also applies to problem number three, which is Kenan Yildiz. Look at this. Kenan Yildiz, right-footed on the right-hand side. Nico Gonzalez, left-footed on the left-hand side. Because these players favour their stronger foot, they tend to go down the outside. This now creates a problem for the fullbacks. Because the fullbacks, there's no point of them overlapping anymore. This is the best goal to break everything down. When Kenan Yildiz was playing on the left-hand side, a right-footed player on the left-hand side, we all remember this wonder goal against PSV. Look at this. Kenan Yildiz picks up the ball. Cambiaso making the overlap to drag and attract the PSV fullback. It then creates space for Kenan Yildiz to cut inside on his favoured foot. He puts it into the top corner. Complementary profiles. Players that suit one another, but players that play in a zone that plays to their strengths. This is what we're currently seeing at Juventus. Nico Gonzalez left-footed on the left, Kenan Yildiz right-footed on the right. They can only go down the outside, which means they now occupy the space of the fullbacks that are there to overlap. But when speaking about Nico Gonzalez, some might turn around and say, okay, sweet, you've got Nico Gonzalez that likes to pick up the ball and go down the outside and put crosses into the box. You've now completely eliminated Cambiaso when offering something in the final third. But some might turn around and say, sweet, if he doesn't overlap, why doesn't he underlap? Because listen, as a fullback, you can help your winger out by either overlapping or underlapping. So if we've now put one and two together, Cambiaso can't really overlap because the space he overlaps in is the space that Nico Gonzalez is attacking to go down the outside. The problem is when he does overlap, and this is what tends to happen, when he does overlap, he's playing with a player that is low IQ, but he's playing with a player that struggles to spot those passes when Cambiaso is underlapping. I've gone back and looked at some of Nico Gonzalez's performances in the past month or two. I want to see why he struggles to make those passes. And the plain and simple matter is, he isn't the most efficient yet alone effective in possession. He turns over the ball a lot. Let's break it down. Against Atalanta, he had a 60% pass accuracy. Against Verona, he had a 69% pass accuracy. Against Empoli, 67%. Against PSV, hey, guess what? 58% pass accuracy. Inter, 73%. It's good when you compare it to some of the other games, but even then, as an attacking player, in a team that retains the ball, 73%, it's not good. And then Como, 68%. So when Cambiaso makes those runs, the winger that he's partnered the left-hand side with, he's not the best at passing the ball into those dangerous areas. And that's why Juventus turn over possession. And then you've got Nico Gonzalez high up the field. You've got Cambiasso, who's made the underlap, hasn't received the ball, and now he's supposed to track back and get into his defensive zone. Problem one and problem two, they are connected, mainly because Nico Gonzalez as a player, I don't feel like he's the most efficient, the most effective. He's a player that's drowning, that's struggling at the moment, yet he continues to start, and he's now reached the stage where, in my opinion, he's a massive, massive, massive hindrance on this team in the final third. One, because of his ability. Two, because of his contributions. And three, because of the opposition he occupies, he limits Cambiasso. Now, problem number three. It's similar, but it's Kenan Yildiz. Now, Kenan Yildiz at the start of the season, he built such a nice bond with Cambiasso. Like, you could see the goal against PSV. You could see the give and goes. A winger that likes to tuck inside. So when he tucks inside, he leaves the space out wide for Cambiasso, who likes to run in behind, who likes to maintain width, who likes to get into areas where he can put crosses into the box. Kenan Yildiz is now on the right-hand side. He can't cut in and shoot anymore. And that's a trait of his which I felt like was an X factor for Juventus when scoring goals. The problem is, Kenan Yildiz down the right-hand side, he can't really cut in. He doesn't have a fullback that he understands. And the problem is, like, I've always looked at Kenan Yildiz and I've said, he is one of Juventus' most talented of attackers. But why is one of your most talented of attackers being treated like a utility player this season? Why? The only time that Kenan Yildiz plays on the left-hand side is when Nico Gonzalez doesn't start. The only time that Kenan Yildiz ever gets 20, 30 minutes in that central position is when Koopmeiners is not on the pitch. Put your best players in their most dangerous of positions. And Kenan Yildiz, as much as I feel like everybody knows he's most penetrative, he's most dangerous in that roaming number 10 role, he's shown he can do it down the left. So if you're not putting him in the 10, put him in the left. If it means putting Nico Gonzalez on the bench in order to put Kenan Yildiz, who's a better player, on the left-hand side, then so be it. Because when you put him on the left, guess what? You're rewarded with good Kenan Yildiz performances. You're rewarded with a player that has the X factor to cut in and shoot. But on top of everything, he complements one of Juve's best players in Cambiasso. So it's like, it's all about complementary profiles, guys. Come on, you understand what I'm trying to say to you guys. Just this one rotation will allow Kenan to improve in his performances, will allow Cambiasso to improve in his performances. And if it means putting Nico Gonzalez, you're not even putting Nico Gonzalez out of position. No. You're putting Nico Gonzalez in the position that earned him the move to Juve on the right-hand side where he played for Fiorentina. This is a misprofiling problem of the highest degree, and it's having a massive effect on key players in the final third for Juve. Like, it's all about playing to your player's strengths. And the one thing that I have seen with Kenan when he does play down the right-hand side, and I've seen a lot of people mention it, which is he plays down the right-hand side because he now has license to tuck inside, roam inwards, and play like a second number 10 next to McKennie. But where the problem with this is, you now leave Timothy Weah out wide on the right-hand side alone. He's not as talented as a Cambiasso. He can't do it all alone. When you put him all alone and Kenan tucks inside, Timothy Weah now has no underlap, no overlap. And how many times have we seen him down the right-hand side struggling to get that crossing, struggling to maneuver himself, struggling to get that yard for a pass, for a cross, for anything. It's a simple change. It's all about putting players in the areas they flourish in the most. And where it's most disappointing is because I feel like when you look at all three of these players that I've mentioned, Cambiasso, Kenan Yildiz, Nico Gonzalez, if somebody was to turn around and say to you, what area of the pitch, amongst which players have they played the best of football? Kenan started off the season on the left. Cambiasso was the left back. It was a good partnership. Juve were winning games. Both players were growing in that role. Why change it? Nico Gonzalez, I don't think he's been amazing, whether it's left, right, in a Juve shirt. But what made Juve sign him? Because the dude was scoring goals. The dude was penetrative where? On the right-hand side for Fiorentina. Put your players in the areas they flourish in the most. This whole misprofiling, this whole having wingers playing on their strong foot, it can work. It really, really, really can. But you better make sure when they go down the outside, they're putting some top tier crosses into the box. The crosses into the box are not good. The crosses into the box are going into one man and one man only. And it's Kolo Muani whilst he's got 4 defenders on him. How many times have Juventus really scored this year from somebody crossing the ball into the box and somebody scoring a header? Not much. But how many times have Juventus scored this season from giving and going, players cutting inside, having a shot from goal? The majority. When you look at the goal against Empoli, in my opinion, probably Juve's best goal of the season. Kefran Turam, who was on the left-hand side. You had Kenan giving and going with Locatelli, with Cambiaso. Then it goes to Locatelli. He feeds Cambiaso because Kenan, tucked inside, left the space for Cambiaso. It's like a jigsaw. It's all beginning to fit. It's all beginning to make sense. Put players in their right position and I can guarantee you guys, Juve will perform better. Juve will get top 4. Players will grow and elevate in those roles. Now, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. And I will catch you guys on another one.